Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 5-game NBA main slate on Tuesday. Before I get in the video, because you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. NFL season winding down. We have one more week of the regular season, but I will be covering the playoffs, so you will be seeing some content up from the NFL for me for this week and then into the playoffs as well. If you're unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. It's called the DK DFS Show. If an extra minute or two, if you could leave a 5-star rating and review, would really help me out over on Apple Podcasts. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, I offer 2 different packages on patreon.com. NFL and NBA. We cover the main and we cover the showdown slates. The sponsor of this video is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, guys, is a player prop site. So Prize Picks works a couple different ways to play for NBA. The first way is taking over under fantasy points. The second way is taking over under in straight up points, straight up assist, rebounds, 3-pointers made. They have stuff for NFL. They have stuff for college football, tennis, soccer. You can mix and match sports. You can pick 2 to 5 player props and win up to 10x your money. So if you guys want to try out Prize Picks, make sure to sign up and use my code DKDFS. It is DKDFS, all one word. You'll get a 100% match up to $100, so basically free $100 to play with on the site if you deposit using my code. And finally, as always, I want to thank you all for your continued support on these videos, everyone that came in and checked the YouTube live stream today. Again, if you guys do enjoy the free content, just make sure to hit that like button. Let's try to aim for 100, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices, let's look back lineup here from tonight, I should say. So here's my lineup tonight. So it's going to be a good night. As I've said a couple times now, could have been a great night. Could have been a great night if Jokic had a solid game and that game didn't blow out. So let's go over my lineup. Simons, Beal, Korkmaz, Tice, Jokic, Ross, Naz Reid, and Yusuf Nurkic. So yeah, once we got the news that Korkmaz was starting, we all thought Shake was going to start at the point. Once we got news that Korkmaz was starting for value, I did really like him in both formats. It was only 18% on this game. Now, definitely got the ceiling game. 51 is 100% ceiling, 100% a ceiling game, but he went off. My 3 favorite spin ups today were Jokic, Beal, and Ja. Again, Jokic, a little bit of a letdown, but yeah, sure, he has a snowflake. Again, don't read too much into that. You have to look at what else happened in the slate. We had a 70% owned Harden in the high stakes go for 38. So sure, Jokic blowout hurt him. Was on pace for about 60, a little over 60 if the game stayed competitive. But also, again, 70% of the field dead with 38 from Harden. So even though he underperformed a little bit, it's still great. Not great, but still solid on this slate, right? Compared to Harden, who was the mega chalk and was a massive bust. And then, yeah, so Ja went off too, and that game blew out as well. Daniel Tice, I mean, he was fine. 20 fancy points, take it. He shot like 2 of 12 or something. It's like, all right, dude. Terrence Ross was fine. I was debating between him and Tyus Jones. It was really a coin flip for me. I think Tyus Jones ended with 28, so I ended up going with the wrong decision. But again, it was basic coin flip there. Naz Reid, 56% owned. He's on pace for a pretty solid game here. And then I have a low-owned Nurkic, who they've really limited his minutes so far. Super tilting, right? He has been smashing. He's only played 19 minutes so far and has 31 fantasy points. We didn't get news of a limitation. Now, I knew that was a risk. I talked about it on Patreon. I was like, hey, there's a decent chance he's in a limit. We just don't know. But, God, could we really just got that news beforehand? Because, yeah, Nurkic is absolutely smashing here in 19 minutes, 31 fantasy points. Hoping he comes back in and closes strong. But, yeah, right now, currently about 5x my money on this slate. Might go a little bit more. If Nurkic has a good fourth quarter there. So, yeah, that's it for the look back, guys. As far as the winning lineup right now in the Hall of Famer, it is Simons, Beal, Denny, Clark, Jokic, Korkmaz, Powell, and Naz Reid is the winning lineup right now. Again, ownership, Brad Beal 80%, Korkmaz was 45%. It's a much higher in this one. Harden was 50% in this tournament. He was about 70% in mine. Morris about 50%. He's been a little bit let down. The game's looking like it might blow out. And then, yeah, that's really it. But I want to shout out a couple of people from Patreon last couple days. It's been a really, really good few days from us. So NFL Sunday, we had someone win over $11,000. This was last night. We went for a low on Giddy. Giddy's my favorite tournament play. Went off. Takedown there was at 2,500. I think that's what it says. $27 into 205. $700 win. So again, congrats to everyone. And a couple days ago, we also had a really solid night to close out a 2021, $1,500 there. 155 into almost 1,000. Cam with a solid more than double up. So it's been a really, really solid few days for us. Going to be another good night tonight. So hoping to keep it rolling right now for this 5-gamer. Okay, so we'll start off with Memphis and Cleveland. On the Memphis side, again, as you guys know, I always love Ja. Loved him tonight. He went off. I like him again here. Now, the only downside is Cleveland's actually been pretty solid defensively, but Ja Morant's going to play mid-30s minutes, and right now he is just, dominating. 48, 66, 51, and 55 fantasy points now the last 4 games. So I think he looks a really solid option here at the top. Desmond Bane had a really good game tonight. Now, he's also been playing pretty well, 47 fantasy points. I think he's a solid option. Might go a little bit over-owned on this slate based off recent performance. But again, Desmond Bane is really, really playing well and stepping up. Might be their second best option right now on the team outside of Ja. I think he's kind of leaped over Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been kind of disappointing this year. Triple J, again, the ceiling is there, but this is also possible. He got 25 minutes, 4 fouls. He's in foul trouble. No surprise there. So, what you get with Triple J is about half the time he's going to kill you. The other about half the time he's probably, has a ceiling. So never someone I go to in cash games, but always someone you can look to for tournaments. Now, a play I'm okay with here is Steven Adams, just because the way Cleveland plays. They play with 2 bigs out there basically at all times. So I think this is a game Steven Adams might push for about 30 minutes. Which in this price point, I think makes him a pretty safe play. Decent rebounder, decent shot blocker. Kind of a play looks decent. And then Tyus Jones, 4-1. Didn't play as much as I thought. He played 19 minutes, but he still smashed in that time. Again, Memphis is still pretty thin, so I'm thinking we get around 20 minutes from him, which makes him a good GPP play. And then Brandon Clark's been getting some decent minutes off the bench, 23 and 25 now last couple games. Again, you did have Triple J foul trouble, but I think if the game's as competitive, there's no foul trouble, we get around 20 minutes from him, which I think makes him a pretty decent value play. Another good point per minute guy. They started Killian Tilly. He only played, 16 minutes, so not a ton of interest even if he starts again. Santi Aldama got a little bit of run too. I think he played 17 minutes. I guess at the Flatman price, you can go there. But the guy that did get a lot of run tonight, kind of out of nowhere, Jarrett Culver, played 30 minutes, went for 22 fantasy points. So assuming that everyone that was questionable or sat out tonight is out again, I think you can consider Culver. Now, will we get 30 minutes again from him? Not so sure about that, but he also is the Flatman price. So definitely a lot to like here on the Memphis side. Moving on to Cleveland. So big news here is Darius Garland. He is questionable. He practiced on Monday. Game time decision due to conditioning. So that's going to be pretty significant. If he plays, definitely takes all those guards out of play. If he misses, then we can consider some of these value guards. But as far as the bigs go, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they both seem priced about right. I think we get low to mid-30s minutes from Allen. I think we get mid-30s minutes from Evan Mobley. Again, Mobley does have upside, but the price doesn't really stand out. I think the guy that I like the best is Kevin Love. He's been playing a lot more recently, 32, 29, 30, and 29 minutes over the last 4 games. And we know how productive he is on the court. So I think Love is my favorite of the bigs there. Lord Marketing, kind of just indifferent on him. He's been playing around 30 minutes, kind of been struggling a bit of late. And then, again, we have a Coro out too. Chetty Osman did not take part in practice. So doesn't look like he's going to be available. So if Darius Garland is out too, then it's going to be interesting to see who they end up starting, right? Because Pango's most likely starts. He's been started the last couple games. I don't have a ton of interest in him. He's been playing mid-20s minutes, so he doesn't have a high ceiling. But who would start at the 2, right? Because Okoro's been starting at the 2. So like the starting lineup, if Garland is out, is going to be Pangos, Markin, Mobley, Allen. Then who's going to start at the 2? Like, do they move Goodwin in there to start the 2? They don't have a ton of guards, really. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing there if Darius Garland is out. Now, if Darius Garland is in, then again, I don't think we have to consider really the Cleveland guards, the value guards. San Antonio and Toronto. So once again, we still have no DeJounte Murray. I think Derek White looks really good here at 7-2. Played 42 minutes in overtime, so 37 in regulation. I mean, his floor and ceiling goes way, way up with DeJounte Murray out of this lineup. So I still like him at that price. I think Jakob Poeltl makes for a pretty safe play. Should get around 30 minutes from him, a good rebounder, decent shot blocker. And then we have no Lonnie Walker, no McDermott. Keita Bates-Diop is questionable too. So the Spurs, definitely a team we can have some value in. Trey Jones started last game. He played 32 minutes. I think he's a pretty good value. We had Devin Vassell start and play almost 41 minutes, but again, 36 in regulation. So he played big minutes. Assuming he starts again, he looks good. You had Bryn Forbes play big minutes off the bench. Went for 41 fantasy points. Now, we'll probably get some pretty significant minutes from Bryn Forbes. The only downside is he is scoring dependent, so he still has a relatively low floor. And then Keldon Johnson, I had a possibility to take down that one slate, and he shot 4 of 18. Like, are you kidding me? Again, I can't get Keldon Johnson right. I cannot get Ant-Man right. There's two guys I just never, ever get right, but he gets a boost too. Should play mid-30s minutes too. So the Spurs are a team that I actually have a good amount of interest in. If Bates-Diop is in, then that makes, the wings a little bit riskier, but still a team that I think we can look to for value. On the Toronto side, so Van Fleet, Siakam have been playing really well since they've been back. Van Fleet, the positive here with the Raptors guys, they're just going to play massive minutes. Like we're probably at close to 40 minutes from Van Fleet and Siakam in a competitive game. 3 straight 50-plus fantasy point games from Siakam, and we've had, 3 or 4 straight from Van Fleet. So both seem a little bit underpriced in a good matchup. Like them both. Barnes and Anunoby both seem priced about right. The bigs kind of priced up, and I don't really trust the secondary rotation right now, so I don't know if I get to anyone else. Like Gary Trent did only play 20 minutes last game. I guess he did foul out. I think normally we get around 30 minutes from him. You can always go to him, but pretty scoring dependent. So, yeah, again, I just don't think I'm going to consider the bigs on Toronto. Moving on to Indiana and New York. So the Pacers are a team shorthanded. Sabonis at the top at 9-9. The Knicks are known for a pretty solid defensive team, but I still think Sabonis looks great here. Should play about 40 minutes. He's a guy that's triple-double upside, honestly, playing without the 2 main guards. I really like Sabonis. I think Miles Turner's a fine option. Does feel a little bit too cheap for a guy that should play mid-30s minutes. And then Justin Holiday, he's going to play big minutes. He's not a super high-usage guy, but I think he's a relatively safe value option just for the amount of minutes he should get. Torrey Craig, O'Shea Brissett, these guys probably get some decent run off the bench. We only saw 21 minutes from Torrey Craig last game. His ownership probably going to be very, very low. O'Shea Brissett played 16 minutes. So those two more contrarian options, and it looks like Lamb is still out too. So assuming everyone that missed last game is out again, we're going to have some pretty big minutes to go around. So Washington at 4K, started, played 34 minutes. I like him. And then I think Sykes looks pretty good too. Kiefer Sykes played 35 minutes. Neither are great point per minute guys, but they're both really cheap. And if they both start again, I'm thinking we get similar minutes. So yeah, those guys look really, really good for the Pacers. Moving on to the Knicks. So we have no Randall, no Rose, no Kemba Walker. And with Mitchell Robinson's status up in the air, if Mitchell Robinson plays, I think he's a decent option. If he misses, we can look at a guy like Taj Gibson, who probably starts and plays pretty big minutes. So that'll be a value play that we might get if Robinson can't go. As far as everyone else goes in the Knicks here. So Alec Burks, 6.3K. We probably get mid to high 20s minutes from him. A fine GBP play. RJ Barrett at 5'6". I would think he gets around 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Does feel a little bit too cheap. Obi Toppin had a massive game last game, played 45 minutes. I'm thinking, I don't think we get that amount of minutes again from him, but if we get, mid 30s minutes at 5'2", I still think he makes for a decent mid-range play. Like, he's been a guy that's been productive off the bench this year. He just really hasn't been given the opportunity. Finally was given the opportunity last couple of games. First game, kind of a letdown. Second game, he went crazy. But we know, the Knicks are going to go the hot hand situation. Fournier, always fine for tournaments. He has a low floor, though he's not hitting his shots. I do think Quickly makes for an interesting GBP play. They have not been starting him, but he's a guy that is productive when he's on the court. I don't think the ownership's going to be that high based off recent box scores. So I kind of like Quickly here for GBPs. And then I don't think I get to, McBride or Grimes. So I think this is better value on the slate. And then Kevin Knox, he's 3.4K. He's been playing mid-teens minutes off the bench. Again, I just don't know if it's necessary to go there. Phoenix and the Pelicans. A great matchup here for the Suns. Devin Booker, 8.8K. Feels priced about right, but since the matchup is so good, I think he's a solid GPP play. We know the floor is low on him, but the ceiling is high. I think Chris Paul, the safer option at 7.4, it feels pretty underpriced for him. I think in a competitive game, we get 32 to 35 minutes. And again, the Pelicans have not been great defensively. So I do like Paul a decent amount there. And we have no Ayton and no McGee. So Jalen Smith most likely starts and probably pushes for 30 minutes. I think he's a great play in the mid-range. He's been super productive. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, I think Smith's a good play. Cam Johnson, another play I think is pretty safe. We should get low 30s minutes from him. 5.2K, no issue going to him. I think Cam Payne's a sneaky GPP play. Probably get low 20s minutes from him, but he'll be productive when he's on the court. And then Shamet did have a big game last game, but that's partly due to the blowout, so I don't necessarily know if I want to go there. One sneaky play, this is just a large field tournament play, but Bismack Biyombo is the flat min price. So he played the backup 5 last game. He only played 18 minutes. Did go for 24 fantasy points. Now, Jalen Smith, kind of prone to foul trouble. He's going up against Jonas Valanciunas, who's decent at drawing fouls. So, I do think Jalen Smith's going to be relatively popular. I think one way you can leverage that, go to Bismack Biyombo off the bench at the flat man price. If a lot of the field plays Jalen Smith and he gets in foul trouble and you play Biyombo, that is, again, massive leverage. So, I think Biyombo is a sneaky play at the flat man price. Moving on to the Pelicans. So, Brandon Ingram, 9.6, feels a little bit too pricey for me. I do have some interest in Jonas Valanciunas at 9.3. I like the spot here. I'm not scared of Smith or Biyombo on the defensive end. He also got in foul trouble. He picked up 2 quick ones to start the game. He could have had a much bigger game here against Utah in a tough spot. So I don't think anyone gets to him in this spot, but I think we get mid-30s minutes in again, a good matchup. So I do kind of like JV for GPPs. I think Josh Hart is pretty safe. Even with Ingram back, he's still producing. Just the guy's doing it and filling up the stats in every single way. And then Hernan Gomez is out of play for me. Herbert Jones with Ingram back, more of a secondary option. I will mention NAW at 4-1. He's been playing, the backup guard position, been playing mid-20s minutes. I think he's viable because, again, look at the shot attempts. 17, 16, 16. When he's on the court, he's shooting the ball. So I think NAW makes for a decent GPP play. And finally, the Kings and the Lakers. So the price points on the 2 Kings guards are very, very tempting to me. Love the spot, and only 7.3 for Halliburton. Should play mid-30s minutes. Again, he's been handling the ball a lot more. 4 straight games now of double-digit assists. I like him quite a bit. We finally saw a decent game from Fox, 2 and 35 minutes from 43 fantasy points. So both Kings guards, in my opinion, look pretty good here in an up-tempo game. Harrison Barnes, I'm just happy he's back to normal. As I told you guys, it's happened now the last 3 years where he starts off, first couple weeks, he averages 40 fantasy points a game. Everyone thinks he's a changed player. This is the Harrison Barnes we know and love, right? Stand in the corner, maybe knock down a couple threes, and be disappointing. So it's very nice that he is back to normal and not winning the MVP like he was the first month of the season. We do have Rashawn Holmes out, so we'll talk about Damian Jones here in a sec. Buddy Hield at 5'4". I mean, he does have upside, but look, the floor is so low. 5, 26, 5, 14, and 41 fantasy points over the last 5 games. So hard to trust him, but the upside is there. Bagley, 4.8, feels a little bit too pricey for me. Met 2 at 4.5. Again, the minutes have been down on him. Probably won't go there. Damian Jones, 4K. So started, played 29 minutes. I think he's a good value if he starts again. The only issue is the Lakers do go small, so I'm not sure if we get 29 minutes again from him. They dusted off Thompson and Alex Len. They both played them a little bit, but I just don't think we have to consider them in the slate. And then Davion Mitchell is back. He's 3.3K. I think we probably get low 20s minutes from him. And close to the flat min price, I think he's an interesting tournament option. Finally, the Lakers. So LeBron finally had a letdown game last game, but he's still playing almost 40 minutes. He's starting at the 5. He's doing everything for this team. So once again, I think he's a very, very safe spend up. Westbrook, definitely more of your tournament option. LeBron's going to be popular. One way to leverage it, you go to Westbrook. The only issue with Westbrook is not great as a player, and he has a much, much lower floor. The value here for the Lakers, nothing stands out to me. Malik Monk's at 5K, feels priced about right. He should play about 30 minutes, probably get you mid-20s fantasy points. Melo, THT don't stand out to me. I mean, Stanley Johnson, Avery Bradley are going to get some minutes. Austin Reeves are going to get minutes. But I just think there's better value with other teams. I don't know if I consider the Lakers value on the main slate. But yeah, guys, that will do it for the video today. So if you have been enjoying the content, again, just make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, I will be doing a YouTube live stream tomorrow, Q&A style. So make sure to check that one out, guys. But thanks again. Have a great night. And I will see you all tomorrow in the live stream.